Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're diving headfirst into the fascinating if slightly terrifying world of international arms deals, because apparently, that's what we do now. Specifically, we're talking about Indonesia, a nation with stunning beaches, delicious food, and a growing appetite for Russian weaponry. Who knew, right? Who knew, right? Now you might be thinking, John or Aya or whoever you are this week, why should I care about Indonesia's shopping list? And that's a fair question. But here's the thing, these aren't your average online impulse buys. We're talking about fighter jets, tanks, missile defense systems, the kind of stuff that makes you go ooh and ah before remembering those exist to, destroy things. So, stay tuned as we reveal the possible list of arms Indonesia might be purchasing, analyze what each piece of hardware brings to the table, and maybe, just maybe, try to decipher what it all means for the region. Buckle up, folks, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. First up on Indonesia's wish list, the Sukhoi Su-35, Russia's answer to the question, what if we took a perfectly good fighter jet and made it even more maneuverable? And look, I'm no pilot, I once panicked trying to land a paper airplane, but even I have to admit, these things are pretty impressive. We're talking about a twin-engine beast capable of hitting speeds of up to Mach 2.25, which, for those of you keeping score at home, is very, very fast. It's also got a range of over 2,000 miles, meaning it could fly from Jakarta to, well, a lot of places Indonesia might need to fly to. And let's not forget the weapons payload, air-to-air missiles, air-to-surface missiles, you name it, this thing can probably carry it. So, why does Indonesia want these flying fortresses of freedom? Well, for starters, their current fleet of fighter jets is getting a bit long in the tooth. Plus, let's be honest, there's nothing quite like a shiny new jet to make your neighbors sit up and take notice. And, in a region with increasingly complex territorial disputes, well, let's just say a little aerial muscle never hurts. Next up, we've got the T-90, Russia's main battle tank and a testament to the enduring appeal of things that go boom. This is not your granddad's Sherman tank, folks. We're talking composite armor, explosive reactive armor, the works. It's basically the Fort Knox of tanks if Fort Knox had a 125mm smoothbore cannon and a serious need for anger management. But wait, there's more. The T-90 also boasts a top speed of around 40 miles per hour, which, again, might not sound that impressive until you remember this thing weighs about as much as a small house. Plus, it can ford rivers, climb obstacles, and generally navigate terrain that would make a mountain goat think twice. So why does Indonesia need a tank that could probably win a demolition derby against a small country? Well, it's all about projecting power, baby. Indonesia has a lot of islands and a lot of coastline to defend, and nothing says don't even think about it quite like a battalion of heavily armed, highly mobile, rolling fortresses. Chapter 3. S-400 Missile Defense System, because ducking is so last century. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, missile defense. Specifically, the S-400 Triumph, Russia's state-of-the-art, allegedly, air defense system, and the stuff of nightmares for pilots everywhere. This thing is basically a giant net designed to catch anything that flies, from drones to ballistic missiles, and it does so with terrifying efficiency. We're talking about a system that can track hundreds of targets simultaneously, launch missiles that can intercept targets at hypersonic speeds, and generally make life very difficult for anyone trying to enter Indonesian airspace uninvited. It's basically the bouncer of the sky, and it's not afraid to use its lasers. Now you might be thinking, John or Aya or whoever's running this show now, isn't that a bit overkill? And to that I say, is it really overkill if it works? In an increasingly volatile world, having a robust air defense system isn't just a luxury, it's practically a necessity, and the S-400, well, it's about as robust as they come. Chapter 4. Mi-35, Helicopters, the Swiss Army knife of the skies. Moving on from things that go boom to things that go thwap thwap thwap, it's the Mi-35 attack helicopter, also known as the Hind. This is one versatile bird, folks. It can transport troops, provide close air support, rain down fiery death from above. Basically, it's the overachiever of the helicopter world. Imagine a helicopter that can carry 8 fully equipped soldiers, or a couple of tons of cargo, or a whole bunch of rockets and missiles. Now imagine that same helicopter can also fly at speeds of over 200 miles per hour, and you've got yourself the Mi-35. It's basically the love child of a Chinook and an Apache, and it's here to make sure Indonesia's enemies have a very bad day. So why does Indonesia need a helicopter that can do it all? Well, remember all those islands we talked about? Having a fleet of Mi-35s means they can quickly deploy troops and equipment to any corner of the archipelago, respond to threats with overwhelming force, and generally make sure everyone knows who's boss. Chapter 5. Kalashnikov. AK-103 rifles, because sometimes you just need a really reliable gun. Last but not least, we come to the Kalashnikov AK-103 assault rifle, because what's a good arms deal without a few thousand new rifles? This is the latest iteration of the legendary AK-47, and it's about as iconic as it gets. It's simple, it's reliable, it's been used in more conflicts than I can count. Basically, it's the Chuck Norris of firearms. We're talking about a rifle that can fire 7.62 by 39mm rounds at a rate of 600 rounds per minute, has a range of over 300 meters, and can survive being dropped, kicked, and generally abused in ways that would make a lesser gun spontaneously combust. It's the weapon of choice for everyone from freedom fighters to, well, not so freedom fighters, and it's about as ubiquitous as it gets. So, why does Indonesia need a bunch of new rifles when they probably already have warehouses full of them? Well, for starters, you can never have too many AKs. It's like the rule of the internet, but for guns. Plus, it's always good to have the latest and greatest, especially when the latest and greatest is just a slightly more ergonomic version of a gun that's been around since the dawn of time. Outro: Indonesia's arms deal, a cause for concern? So, there you have it folks, a glimpse into Indonesia's potential shopping cart of Russian weaponry. From fighter jets to tanks to helicopters to rifles, it's clear they're not messing around. But what does it all mean? Is it just a sovereign nation exercising its right to self-defense? Or is there something more to it? Honestly, it's probably a bit of both. The Asia-Pacific region is becoming increasingly complex and contested, and Indonesia, as a major player in the region, has every right to make sure it can defend its interests. But at the same time, anytime a country goes on a major arms buying spree, it's worth paying attention to. That's all for today's video on Indonesia's potential arms purchases from Russia. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on global military news. And remember, if you ever find yourself on the wrong end of an S-400 missile system, ducking is probably not going to cut it.